Hi, my name is Sylvie and my job is to take the overwhelm out of paleo living. When people get started with the paleo lifestyle, they often feel a little bit overwhelmed about the amount of cooking that is involved. If you are used to buying convenience food to help you prepare your meals, if you are used to buying pizzas and frozen fries and frozen every processed food you can imagine, yes, definitely it can feel like a lot of cooking is involved when you switch to the paleo lifestyle. Fortunately, I'm going to share with you 5 tips to save time in the kitchen when eating paleo. Tip number 1, cooking in bulk. When I got started with cooking in bulk, what it usually meant for me was cooking enough to have leftovers. When you cook a meal, it doesn't take much to double it and reuse it the next day for a different meal. The thing that you can do is you can triple a recipe or even quadruple a recipe and freeze the leftovers. That is referred to as freezer cooking. I used to freezer cook all the time. I would do it at least once a month, and I love the convenience of having 25 frozen meals in the freezer, all waiting just for the next day where I grab it and throw it in the oven. It was definitely a lot of work on the day that I would prepare all these meals, but I thought it was worth it. I have learned some ways to adapt freezer cooking and make it less overwhelming, and if you want to learn more about that, I'll leave a link in the description below. But for now, I just want to emphasize that that is also an option, and you can prepare extra meals to freeze and simplify your paleo lifestyle that way as well. Another thing you can do is when you cook meat of any kind, you can double the amount that you cook and use it in a different recipe. For example, last night we had meat pockets, and so we had to cook ground meat with onions, carrots, celeries, and all the seasoning, and we used only half of this meat. We made our pockets and had a delicious dinner, and then the next day throw in some diced tomatoes, a few more spices, and now you have pasta sauce. So you can do that in so many different ways. You can bake 2 roast chicken instead of 1 and use 1 for your dinner, use the meat from the second one and throw it on a salad for your next meal. You can bake salmon and do the exact same thing, or maybe use some of your meat and add it to a stew. So these are all great ways that will save you a lot of time in the kitchen. Similarly, when you prepare vegetables, you can prepare them in bulk. If you have more time during the weekend, you can prepare enough that will last you all week. If your weekend is busier, like a lot of people I know, just do it whenever you get a chance. You can chop a big batch of onions using your food processor and keep them in the fridge. You can do the same with celery, carrots, and all the vegetables that you would use more than once during the week. Another way that I love to do batch cooking is to make a big salad. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of eating a lot of vegetables when you are healing your body with a paleo diet. And making a huge salad before lunch to eat as your lunch meal and stretch it to your dinner meal as a side dish is a great way to save time in the kitchen and make sure that you are eating enough vegetables. Speaking of eating vegetables, my second tip relates to vegetables, because eating paleo does involve a lot of vegetables, and that is really one of the main things that will cause you to spend a lot of time in the kitchen, because yeah, preparing and chopping vegetables takes time. I have learned a few ways to cut time though and make this a lot quicker. For example, use your food processor. I love my food processor, and as I mentioned before, if you use your food processor and make extra of whatever vegetable you're preparing, it will come in really handy next time you need them. Another way is to buy prepared vegetables. I used to resent buying prepared vegetables because yeah, it cost a little bit more money, but I realized that it saves me so much time in the kitchen, and also it makes it a lot more likely that I will eat these vegetables, since if I don't have time, it's okay. I don't need that much time. I just open a bag, throw it in a bowl, add some dressing if it's chopped kale, for example, or if it's chopped broccoli, I can just throw it on a baking sheet with some olive oil and salt, and it is a great side dish that I reuse over and over when I am busy and I don't have time to put a lot of effort into cutting vegetables. My favorites are definitely prepared broccoli and prepared cauliflower. But there are also some new options that I found and I have been enjoying quite a lot. Rice cauliflower is amazing, and I have been loving the roasted sweet potatoes as well. Spiralized zucchini, yay! Just remember to always look at the ingredients. For example, this mashed cauliflower has dairy in it. You can find a lot of helpful frozen vegetables that are all prepared and that will be extremely handy when you are eating paleo. All great options that I buy every single time I go grocery shopping. And also, as far as frozen vegetables go, you can buy stir-fry mixes. These are really great for a quick meal. Just throw it in a big pot with some tamari sauce or coconut aminos, depending on your food restrictions. Add some garlic and ginger and maybe some meat. You got a great meal there. Another one that I love to use is a mixture of frozen broccoli, cauliflower, and carrots. I just saute it in a pan with some avocado oil and seasoned salt. It's a great side dish. Another great way to eat more vegetables without having to spend hours in the kitchen is to use fermented vegetables. When I have a busy day, or if I spend more time than usual cooking my main meal, I feel like I'm strapped for time to prepare my vegetables or my side dish. And if I have fermented vegetables in the fridge, that's all I need. I love adding a bit of a side of sauerkraut to a dish, like for example when we had these meat pockets I referred to, sauerkraut was the side dish, and it's just so nutritious for you and so convenient. Now for my third tip, keep it simple. You know, I love recipe books. I think I am a bit of a recipe book addict. I buy them constantly because I love the inspiration and the beautiful pictures. However, if you do not want to spend a lot of time in the kitchen, avoid recipes. Because you know what? You do not need a recipe to throw in a roast chicken in the oven and some roasted broccoli as a side dish. And any meal that doesn't require much time in the kitchen and that is extremely simple does not require a recipe. If you want to eat some steak with a side of sauerkraut, you don't need a recipe for that. And you know what? It'll take you less than 15 minutes to prepare your meal. So although I love using recipes and cooking, when I am busy and when I am trying to save time in the kitchen, I do not use recipes. Number 4, prepare in advance. That is a little bit similar to bulk cooking, but what I mean here is a little bit different at the same time. What I mean here is not necessarily when you are cooking a meal to make extra to last to another meal. I simply mean that if there's a time during the week where you are less busy, I recommend you use that time to plan for what you'll be eating the rest of the week, and then prepare most of the ingredients that you will need. This way, when comes your busy time, you just have to throw in the ingredients, mix them together, and you're all set. For example, if you will be eating salads for lunch, you could grill some chicken and put it in the fridge. You could chop your lettuce and chop your vegetables. Yeah, really, all that is meal preparation. So, tip number 5, meal planning. Yes, I am sure you have heard before all the great benefits of meal planning, how much they can save you time in the kitchen and money in your grocery shopping budget. I've been doing meal planning for many years. I love that it removes a lot of the pressure during the week, and I don't have to think about what we're going to eat for the next meal as much. I can just refer back to the meal plan and prepare whatever it says. It is a huge relief. However, I also have found that if you use a meal plan that goes for a week and you think you're going to shop all these meals and use this meal plan for the 1 week, it will not save you time in the kitchen and it will not save you money either. I have found that when I do that, I spend more money and I use all these fancy recipes that I either chose myself to put in my meal plan, or if I buy a book that has a meal plan, then I have all these fancy recipes to make, and it just takes a lot of time and costs a lot of money. A way that I have found to adapt this and to make it work really well for my family is to use a 1-week meal plan and grocery shop for 2 weeks. So when I grocery shop, I use a grocery list that goes with my meal plan, and I buy some go-tos that I always like to have on hand. For example, guess what? A bag of prepared broccoli, or some frozen riced cauliflower, or some prepared Brussels sprouts. I love all these convenience vegetables, and I make sure I buy them every single time I go grocery shopping. I love to buy roast chicken as well. That's another good one. So I make sure I purchase these items. I also purchase all the items that I need for my meal plan. And then during the 2 weeks, I simply follow my meal plan. Sometimes I double the recipe and I can eat again the same meal, even though the meal plan doesn't suggest that. I will eat the recipe that is suggested for dinner. I'll have it for lunch. Or if I'm strapped for time, I'll eat one of our go-tos, for example, the roast chicken with the roasted broccoli instead of the recipe that might be suggested for dinner. So these are the sort of things that I do to adapt the meal plan. It is definitely a great help, and I love them because they also keep things a bit more fun and inspiring in the kitchen, because by always using your go-tos, things can get a little boring. I don't like eating the same thing all the time. You might be different and you might be okay with that. Then great, just don't even use a meal plan and purchase your favorite go-tos and eat that. You don't need anything else. But if you like to have different meals and try different recipes, well, that's a great way to combine spending less time in the kitchen and using some very simple dish and experimenting with fun recipes. I hope these tips were useful, and if you would like to read more on it, don't forget to check the link in the description below. You can find more information in my blog post. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel to be notified when I add another great helpful video.